This is big breaking emergency news. A EPA whistleblower has just spilled the beans, and he is warning that this situation is 10 times worse than East Palestine, Ohio. And this is coming from official numbers that they have given us. 10 times the amount of toxic chemical waste has been released and has caught on fire than East Palestine, Ohio. This is bad. People are reporting giant chunks of black debris showing up in their yards as well too. Let's get into the details here really quick, guys. Please just hit that like and hit that subscribe. I'm posting every single day, some days multiple videos a day, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news, and it just helps to get these warnings out. I appreciate that. So this is what's going on right now in Conyers, Georgia, right? Orckdale County, Georgia. They are dealing with this situation, and the amount of chlorine that has been released is 10x the amount. Okay, so everyone, the big thing in East Palestine, Ohio was vinyl chloride, okay, which is extremely toxic and turns into VOCs, volatile organic compounds, in the air, and they stay in the environment for a very long time, right? And they get absorbed into the soil. There was reports that it was showing up in farm animals and their meat and their milk because the soil was so contaminated with these toxic chemicals, all right? So around 2 million pounds of vinyl chloride was released and exploded, caught on fire during the East Palestine, Ohio disaster. Okay. And what happened in Conyers, Georgia, which has been totally swept under the rug. This is one of the worst disasters, if not the worst, in Georgia and maybe in the country in a long time. 12 to 20 million pounds of chlorine has been burned in this Conyers, Georgia fire, right? This is insane. So about 2 million, 1 to 2 million pounds in Ohio, 12 to 20 million in Conyers, Georgia, which is 20-30 minutes outside of Atlanta. People in Atlanta were smelling this stuff. And this is a chemical reaction. So they put the fire out, but the chemical reaction is still releasing toxic fumes into the air all the time, and people are just breathing it in. And they've had a 3-week shelter in place order now. This has been going on for 3 weeks, all right? I want you to listen to what this EPA whistleblower said too here, all right? He said, this is what he's saying. He's saying that, quote, I have an expression that says, quote, you can't find what you don't look for. And he is saying that the EPA and the government agencies are only testing for very specific things right now. And one of the main things they're testing for is asbestos, right? That's what they're testing for some reason. And they're saying, hey, there's none of this around, so it should be fine, all right? Look at these chunks of crap that's showing up in people's yard. Giant chunks of charred debris, toxic debris. It stinks. And it's all over the place in people's yards in Orckdale County. This is right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, right? This is wild that this is happening. And I-20 goes right through it, right? Main interstate is driving right through this highway too. People are driving through here. Tens of thousands of people a day going in and out of Atlanta, right? Driving through this area. And this is one of the worst environmental disasters we've ever seen, and it's just been swept under the rug, right? People are worried that their dogs are going to eat this stuff, right? Kathy Breedlove is one of several residents there, and she's sending these pictures here of this charred debris, and she's saying that she doesn't want her dogs to eat this stuff, right? She's worried that her dogs are going to find this in the yard, and she hasn't let them in her big yard. She says she has 3.5 acre yard, and she hasn't allowed them to go outside because she's worried they're going to find a little chunk of this toxic junk and get it inside their system, right? And get sick or something, or even worse, right? So that's what people are dealing with here. This is insane. And they're only testing for very specific things right now. They're not even testing for chlorine and the different chemicals that it was reacting with. They're still very shady on all the information here, but they told us that it was a chemical reaction with chlorine, right? And it's still ongoing. The report is that the release is still happening. It's not technically on fire anymore, but the chemical reaction is still ongoing. So who knows how many millions of pounds will be burned through at the end of this, but it's still continuing, and people are just forced to live here in the middle of this. And this is 10 times the amount of chlorine that has been released than East Palestine, Ohio, right? So let me know what you guys think down below. Please just hit it up for me down there to help get these warnings out. I appreciate that. All right, this is a situation that needs attention. They're just letting these people sit here, right? They're just sitting here in this toxic wasteland. Some of these areas right around it, it's bad, right? And the people that are cleaning it up are hazmat crews. They're wearing hazmat suits and taking extreme precautions. But then the people living right there, they're just telling them it's fine, right? So the workers are in hazmat gear, but then the residents, they don't need to be in hazmat gear that live right across the street, right next to it, a mile away, even a couple miles away. The shelter in place order covers a 2-mile radius from this area, and it's even further, right? That people can smell it and had debris in their yard, right? So this situation is bad. It's going to affect the water table, right? And this whistleblower also went on to say that, quote, a lot of chlorine has burned. And what happens when you have smoldering burns like this? You have products of incomplete combustion. So there could be new chemicals that are forming from the fire as well, reacting with other things, and they need to test it all. There needs to be a full scope testing on all the VOCs, all these things that could be in the water table, the soil, and the air. And it's not happening right now. People do not feel safe, and they don't feel reassured that the government is actually taking care of this thing. They feel like this is being swept under the rug, right? There should be a ton of more resources here provided. And when stuff like this happens, why is there no housing for these people? People in North Carolina, there's people in tents still. They just don't get housing. Why don't they get housing? Why don't they get places to stay? These people living in this toxic area, right? Why aren't they provided alternative places to go and stay? They need help. Their homes have been affected and destroyed, and they need to flee, and they need help, and they need homes. So why isn't that provided to the people dealing with in East Palestine, in Maui, North Carolina, Conyers now, right? This one is really swept under the rug, but this is big. This is really big, and it needs more attention. So thank you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe and staying prepared out there, all right? Just be ready. We're really close to the end of the year and beginning of November, so we could see anything happen this time of the year, right? So just be prepared and be ready. Have your stockpiles ready. Have your tanks filled up and ready to go. And situations like this, look into air filters, carbon filters for your AC, for your furnace, HEPA filters, right? You can get them sized for your AC unit, and even if you don't have it in all the time, if something like this happens, you're stuck here, you have that HEPA filter waiting, and it will capture these particulate that are floating around in the air, right? Certain ones will, certain micron filters will, right? Same thing with the water. If you're in this area, I would be filtering my water, right? Especially if you're on any type of well, I would be filtering my water, right? It's probably contaminated, even potentially city water sources. This entire area, it's going to take a long time for it to go back to normal and for all these things to clear out. And these VOCs, sometimes they stay in the environment for decades. Sometimes they're very hard to get rid of, and they just become a part of the environment, right? So thank you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe and prepared. I hope you have big blessings for your life and your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.